Hello and welcome to Finextra. I'm Hannah Wallace, and today I'm joined by Marion Leslie from Thomson Reuters, and we're going to be talking about cloud and data. Marion, it's great to have you here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Firstly, what is cloud and what does it make possible that wasn't before?
So probably simplest put, cloud is the on-demand delivery of computing resource through the internet. And at Thomson Reuters we think about this in three ways. First is where we put our infrastructure on the cloud, and that's where we're taking advantage of that computing resource. Gives us agility, gives us scale, gives us time to market, but it's really about hosting our own infrastructure on the cloud. The second way is in the cloud, where we meet our customers in their cloud destination of choice and provide them with the content and the services that they want through that cloud provider. And the third is when we are the cloud and we become the cloud for our customers and allow them to consume data, services through our own cloud. And the three things that it really does for the industry is it firstly makes it much easier to accelerate experimentation and innovation. So you no longer have to justify the expense of an experiment. You don't have to have the long lead time for creating and implementing a server, accessing the content, loading it, testing it before that innovation can begin. You can just spin it up straight away in the cloud, order the server, get it populated with the data model and the data there and then, and as soon as it fails, if it does fail, you can cut it. So there's a quick sort of spin up, spin down. Second thing that it does is, if you think about how data has been consumed and managed by the industry, it's been a very heavy process. You need real estate, you need data centers, you need a kit and infrastructure and people to manage and build it and supervise it and operate it and engineer it and market data experts, and all of that really goes away because now you can access all that data through the cloud and you don't need that big infrastructure and resource commitment. So the real democratization of access and those barriers to entry have gone away. And then the last thing, it's really enabled the financial services participants to adopt a cloud-first strategy, to really think about anything that they want to do, whether it's to adapt an existing operational service or create a new one, is to say, well, we'll do this first and foremost in the cloud unless there's a very good reason not to. And we've seen across the industry that be adopted. And some of them are quite bold. So some of them have said, 90% of our infrastructure and processes will be performed in cloud by 2020 or 2022.
I see. And what trends are you seeing in the cloud space in the financial service sector?
So there's been a huge increase in spend and commitment to cloud. Some firms have appointed cloud czars, for example. But in terms of general spend, it's gone up by about 35% in 2017, and with spend in the region of $4.5 billion. So there's a significant commitment by the industry to cloud. And the strategies that firms are putting out there are really about adopting this cloud-first strategy and setting targets around how much infrastructure will be hosted in cloud by certain dates, in sort of a 3 to 5 year strategy. And others are adopting hybrid cloud approaches as well, and really starting to think about the difference between private cloud and the public cloud providers.
And what challenges are organisations facing when adopting cloud technology?
The first is there have been concerns about security and governance, which are, I think it's fair to say, significantly abating. So there have been a number of studies that firms have done around their relative capability around security of infrastructure versus that provided by the cloud providers. And I think in the main, everyone's coming to the conclusion that actually the cloud providers are much more capable and efficient and are investing much more in this. So from a kind of information security perspective, I think those fears are allayed. However, I think there's also still a point around whether you want to put all your information, your customer data, with a public cloud provider. Potentially putting all your information with a single cloud provider does bring with it inherent risks. And then really understanding how and where that data gets transported and where it's hosted also becomes sort of geopolitical as much as reputational risks. Secondly, there are still some questions around processes and systems that can and cannot be hosted by cloud. So classic example would be systems that require ultra low latency, algo trading. Those kinds of things are still not really suitable for cloud. I'm sure that will change over time, but certainly there are a number of streaming real-time use cases that can be hosted by cloud, but I think those that require really close co-location to source are probably not best suited for cloud. And I think the other piece is it's not free. So I think there's an assumption that once it's in the cloud it doesn't cost anything, and that's not entirely true. So whilst it's much more suitable for managing variable intensity of usage, any systems or processes that have a degree of downtime, any way in which you can reduce the number of staff that you have developing, supporting or operating the system, that really does give you cost savings. But anything where you've got a fairly continuous intensity of usage needs to be looked at. And that's where a real examination of, well, what are the processes that are supporting this infrastructure and how do they need to change? So it's not enough just to move your infrastructure and then perform all your tasks in exactly the same way, because the costs of publishing and consuming data from the cloud are quite high. So what you need to do is move your infrastructure, your applications, but also move your processes and change them so that they're more appropriate for cloud, so that you're performing your activities in the cloud and reducing the amount of extraction and publishing that you do, because that's where some of the costs come in.
And finally, how is your business best placed to support customers around these themes and challenges?
So the first thing is we're already there. Our customers are consuming our content in public cloud today. We are also partnering with them in their strategies as they migrate their activities to cloud. So we've been conducting a number of proofs of concept with customers as they experiment and move their activities to cloud. We have a very active roadmap of new data and services that will be released in public cloud this year. And we're very much on that path of migration from providing the ingredients for enterprise data management to providing the services that support our customers' business. So the data and the insights that they need, and without expecting them to manage it all themselves. So that's the journey that we're on to with our customers.
Marion, this has been great. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for watching.